Hey YouTube, it's Nick26 here, back with another fishing video. It's the middle of April, so you know what time it is. It's time for the California Delta Fishing Report for the month. Before I get into the fishing, I just want to take the time to thank everybody for all the support I've been getting and acknowledging a few things about my videos. Guys, I just want to explain that it is very difficult for me to make the type of videos that we all want to see, which would be out on the boat, on the water, handling the fish, this and that. And I just want to address the reality of the situation right now is the fact that I have really been attempting to better the qualities of my video visually and whatnot. So with that being said, I just want to explain how out here on the Delta, it's very difficult to optimize your videos and that sort of thing. Like right now, the lighting is bad. I realize that the silhouette of, you know, myself is a little bit overwhelming, and I've been fighting with that for days now. And if it's not the silhouette, it's the wind or other boats, and it's just constantly something, you guys. So until I get a professional camera, until I have a committed cameraman that is willing to you know, grow with me and work with me on that level, the videos are just going to be very informational and raw and uncut for the time being. However, I just want you to know this channel will evolve. So thank you again, everybody, for watching, and let's get into it. So the spawn is happening, and the fish are eating. First and foremost, I'm going to say that. Every day has been a little bit different condition-wise. You know, some days we'll get rain, some days it'll be crystal clear, other days we'll get muddy water, and we've been getting a lot of wind lately. So conditions are constantly changing, which does affect the quality of the bite. But with that being said, the fish are biting the same baits consistently throughout this month, regardless of the weather. They're just eating more so on the better equipped days for them to feed. So getting straight into it, in the morning, when you first get out onto the river, there's a reaction bite. That's what we start with. We go reaction, and in the morning, top water reaction is where it's at. So with that being said, I'm throwing a frog, you guys. This is the frog that I'm throwing. I'm a snag proof guy, so this is what I'm throwing. This is the Ish's frog in the bling bling color. It's just like a really silver color. I'm throwing this right now because the bite is on the white baits right now. I've caught some frogfish on black frogs this month. That is always a good option when the sun is out. That silhouette on the top of the water is very, very good, and they'll eat that. And when the conditions are pretty good, I'll throw this because that shad bite is still there right now. So this really from the bottom can appear to be a fish, and so that's what I'm throwing. I caught a couple good fish on this morning, actually. So throw a black or a white frog, or I mean, this could count as a white frog to me. So I really don't like throwing natural color frogs, brown or green. It blends too much in with the mats and the surroundings. I want something that sticks out, black or white, guys. So that's what you're gonna want there. Another reaction bait that I've been throwing is my chatterbait. The biggest fish that I caught this month went on this exact chatterbait. I'm actually throwing a paddle tail on this chatterbait, which is a little bit different for me. If you've watched my previous videos, you know I'm not a huge fan of that. However, it does work, and I haven't been spending as much money lately because I want to use what I have. So I just threw a Kitech onto that to as a trailer my favorite trailer is, you know, a grub or a fluke or something with that straight tail. But this has probably been the #1 bait that I've been throwing during that reaction time when the water's moving. So if the water's moving, I'm throwing a reaction style bait. On the clear days, that's what I throw. This one is just white with a little bit of silver in there. That's a shad. We'll get dirty water days where the water visibility is very low, and that's when I'll just bring out the chatterbait that is got some color in there. As you can see, it's got some chartreuse and white and brown in there, opposed to this straight one. So clear water, dirty water, this combo gets it done, guys. And just have confidence in that and throw it. I'm very much a chatterbait guy. I prefer the chatterbait. I like how weedless it is. Basically, that's what I throw instead of crankbaits, you guys. Crankbaits work and they're wonderful, but I prefer single hook applications. They're stronger, they're more weedless, and I just like them better. So 9 times out of 10, I'll prefer to throw like a chatterbait or a spinnerbait opposed to a like a square bill or even a lipless crankbait. So keep that in mind, guys. So on very clear days, sometimes the chatterbait is a little bit too much. If they are not biting that, then just drop the chatterbait and then just throw the Kitech. Just throw the trailer. This here is a Blade Runner Spin Tricks in a 1/2 ounce size. It's just a little underspin with a Kitech on there. You can throw that, which is wonderful, or you could just completely remove the underspin and then just throw it as just a regular swim bait. This is working really, really well right now. The bite is on these small fish, on these shad, more so than the crawdad bite or the bottom type bite, believe it or not. So that is when the water's moving and the reaction baits. So when the tide flattens, the water stops moving, the action dies down a little bit. You find out maybe a little bit after 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock that the reaction bite indeed is gone. You're just not getting bit really anymore unless you are throwing, like I said, just that very, very natural presentation, just the Kitech. So when that part of the day occurs right before noon, that's when the reaction baits get put down and I start throwing that very natural looking swim bait, and I start flipping. So when it's time to flip, I throw a jig. This is always an option. TNT baits, Cooch's Wada jig is what I use, and I put a Gary Yamamoto, the Flappin' Hog trailer on those. The corresponding colors all match up to these two brands, and it's really just a wonderful dynamic duo to take part in. So that is what I throw. The craw right now are a very dark red and black, so this is the color that I throw most often, the black and red. So I'll just flip with that and you know, catch some good fish on that. When that jig isn't really working, sometimes it's a little too bulky, or you know, they're just not biting it for whatever other reason, I'll just flip, you know, just a normal little something like this brush hog. I'm a brush hog guy. That's what I like to flip. I'll just put on, you know, a little 1/4 ounce to a 1/2 ounce tungsten weight, the bobber stop Texas rigged, a brush hog in there. But I like a really strong single application hook, you guys. I like the Gamakatsu, the super lines. Throw them in like a 3/0 or a 4/0, and the bigger plastics get you the bigger bite. So I'll prefer to throw the, you know, the normal brush hog instead of the baby brush hog, etc. So that's my flipping bait. Flip that around, catch some fish. I'll also just flip these Flappin' Hogs, guys. The Gary Yamamoto Flappin' Hog, Texas rigged that in a bunch of different colors. I like the copper one that's got like the orange to it. That is a bad mother on the Delta, I can promise you that. And the black and red, the black and blue. This is a real natural green pumpkin one with some flake in there, so I like to throw that as well as a flipping bait. Another flipping bait that I'm really fond of is a Berkeley Pit Boss. If you can find it in the vampire blood color, get it. Very hard to find now. They stopped making it. So Berkeley, if you're out there, we don't appreciate that. So if you can, try make it again. I don't see why you guys stopped making this. This is a very, very good bait out here on the Delta. This is what we want, and it's no longer available. So I'm still throwing them. I got a bunch of them, but when those run out, I'm gonna have to go back to, I guess, that California color, which is disappointing. But Berkeley Pit Boss is another good bait to throw. One bait I like to throw out here right now, and I kind of keep this one a secret. Not a lot of guys have figured it out, but I'm gonna give this one away. This is a 10-inch worm. Just a Berkeley power worm in like just the June bug color, the curly tail. I'll throw that on just a jig head. As you can see, this is like kind of a swim jig head with an 8/0 hook. So when the bite really dies down and it's low tide, I'll tie this on and I will throw this right at the end of the weed line. This almost performs like a shaky head. This is an unsalted worm, so it floats. When I throw it out there, it comes down. If you hook it correctly, it just keels through the water, and you'll get bit a lot of the time on the drop, just like fishing a shaky head. This is a giant 1-ounce 10-inch shaky head. Just think of it that way. It drops down, it falls, this tail sticks straight up. You shake that rod tip, let that tail quiver in place, and with that swim jig head, you can work it like a jig, just like a jig. You can pull this right through the weeds. This is so weedless that it's not even funny. And guys out here on the Delta just haven't figured this out. They're just throwing their flipping baits, they're throwing their jigs, and this attracts very, very big fish. I catch hogs on this, and like I said, not a lot of people have figured that out. So there's that. So that's kind of how it's been working this month, guys. When the water's moving and the tides are changing, that reaction bite is good. Fish are on the move. When it's flat, they're chilling. They're enjoying, they're resting, and you need to flip that flipping bait right in front of them. They're not going to chase. And you're going to do that. You're going to repeat this. In the morning, you're going to do the reaction bait. All through the afternoon, you're going to do the flipping. And then when the reaction bait picks back up on the tide switch, you're going to do that. And this is the way that it works out here right now, you guys. And in addition to what I've showed you today, I'm still throwing a rattle trap. 1/2 ounce rattle trap in the 46R color. That's the California crawl. I don't have one on me right now. But that bite is still working. We're kind of coming to the end of rattle trap season. The weeds are here, and they're really starting to take off. So there's still a couple more weeks of rattle trapping to be done, and that's catching a lot of fish, especially with the striper. And you'll be amazed with some of the quality largemouth you catch on those rattle baits. So bird them, shake them, fish it like you would your chatterbait or even a fluke. You just pop them, let them fall, pop them. The rattle trap, they like to eat that. They like to eat these baits when they're changing directions, guys. If you just do a straight, flat retrieve, just very boring, you don't get the reaction you get when you're popping and letting it drop and pulling it up and just try to be very evasive with the bait. And they like to eat that bait that changes direction, guys. So keep that in mind and get out there and do some fishing. They're shallow right now, low tide. You can see the big mamas in there splashing around, fanning their tails. Look for them in the dead hyacinth, in the roots of the tules. They are spawning all in there on those flats. Throw your frog in there. and they'll suck it down on a bed. They don't really kind of attack it and go crazy like a reaction bite. The fish that's just looking to eat, they'll just come right up and suck it down. So if you see that very subtle bite, you know you're on a bed and you can stop and work it. So that's going to be it for this month, everybody. I got a couple more videos coming out this month that I have planned, so look forward to those. Again, I appreciate everybody, and I apologize for the imperfect videos and the imperfect conditions, but that's just the way the reality is. I'm going to show you guys the reality of what's going on, whether I'm catching fish or not, whether the videos are good or not, whether or not the weather is good or not. This is an informative fishing channel, and first and foremost, the information is what you're going to get here. So thank you, everybody, and I'll see you again shortly.